Good morning and welcome to TipRanks News Bites. I'm Ari Gutman. Today is Wednesday, July 27th, and here are our top news bites. A key Federal Reserve decision will be rendered on the benchmark interest rate this afternoon, which has all of Wall Street's complete attention. President Biden is scheduled to speak with Chinese counterpart President Xi regarding trade relations and tariffs. And as for our global news bite, the International Monetary Fund just lowered global GDP forecasts, certainly painting a much more uncertain future for us all. Now finally, as for our breaking TipRanks Insider news, you're going to want to find out which biotech had directors purchase more shares worth of the company, totaling over $6 million. So be sure to stay tuned to the very end of today's segment. As earnings continue to roll in with mixed reports, the market has been bouncing. But as of right now, all futures on all three major indexes are currently up. The Dow jumped by 0.21%, the S&P is up by 0.55%, and as for the Nasdaq, showing gains of 1.06%. However, investors on the street to economists and even those on Capitol Hill are all on edge awaiting a key benchmark interest rate announcement from the Federal Reserve, which will be announced just later on this afternoon. While we already know that the central bank will be taking a more combative approach with their mission to really curb inflation, the Fed's level of aggression is what's most concerning to investors, as many are worried that too large of an interest rate hike at this point would result in shell-shocking the economy into a full-blown recession. Now, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell has suggested a full point rate hike just weeks ago. However, with economic conditions having changed since, the market is now expecting nothing more than a 0.75 percentage point increase. But with just hours to go, be sure to stay tuned, as this economic news may very well once again create market volatility. While on the topic of combating inflation, President Joe Biden has been weighing his options on how best to alleviate inflated prices, which have been burdening U.S. consumers. Now, later this afternoon, Biden is scheduled to have a call with China's President Xi. Trade tariffs are expected to be a major item on their agenda. Now, Biden's administration began analyzing the effectiveness of the Trump-imposed trade tariffs with China months ago. And while Biden made very clear that he does not firmly believe the 25% duties on billions of dollars worth of Chinese imports are working to the favor of the United States, he remains undecided on whether or not to reduce those tariffs. However, John Kirby, a spokesman for the National Security Council, offered more insight, sharing that the administration feels the Trump tariffs were ultimately poorly designed. And he further explained how they have actually increased costs for American families, small businesses, as well as ranchers, without necessarily addressing some of China's most harmful trade practices. Now, as the relationship between China and the United States is one of the most consequential bilateral relationships in the world, any alterations in trade policy can surely have a profound effect on the global economy. Now, on a much broader global front, the International Monetary Fund just cut global growth projections yesterday afternoon. To ensure we're all on the same page, the International Monetary Fund works to achieve sustainable growth for all 190 member countries. The Washington-based institute supports policies that promote global financial stability and monetary cooperation, which are essential for global productivity as well as job creation. The IMF is now expecting the world economy to grow 3.2% this year, before slowing down heading into 2023 at a growth rate of just 2.9%. All of which paints a rather nil and uncertain future for us all. As for our breaking TipRanks Insider news, Revolution Medicines, an innovative biotech focused on the development of new medicines for cancer patients, just had two directors purchase more shares worth of the company, totaling $6 million. Now, Revolution Medicines has a TipRanks Smart Score of 6, and while there's been quite a lot of insider selling lately, hedge funds have been increasing their position with the investment, and analysts are rating Revolution Medicines as a strong buy with an average target share price of $32 per share. That's up from their current price at $24.31. Now, if this investment seems of interest to you, be sure to jump right onto TipRanks to perform all your due diligence. Tip Rankers, that's our news for today. It was certainly all very heavy on economics, with the vast majority of investors and economists worried about our economic future. But it does beg the question, do you think we're heading towards a recession, or do you feel that the Federal Reserve will be able to walk their way off this economic tightrope to safety, therefore avoiding a recession? Now also, I'd love to catch your take on Biden's potential trade policy shift. Should we be reducing tariffs or keeping them right in place? Let me know by leaving a comment or two down below. Now, as always, be sure to stay up to date and stay connected with us right here at TipRanks TV, all the shows you just cannot afford to miss. And until next time, thank you for tuning in.